I think this is something that needs to be said.
We've been living through the death of the American male.
So, okay, so you think that those two are the same?
Ruslan.
Anthony Mackie is getting backlash for saying some rather simple things that define manhood. Now, I got to give you guys a heads up. There might be some profanity in this one. So, hide your kids. Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Explicit.
I thought this was brilliant. I think this is something that needs to be said. This is all very sensible, but not in 2025. Apparently, saying basic facts and ideas that reflect common sense will get you in trouble. All right?
Okay.
Hit play.
I keep my boys humble. Like, my boys have never had a pair of Jordans. You know, my boys don't do all that internet fly shit.
No fly shoes for him.
No fly shoes!
No fly shoes for the kids.
So he's a fairly famous actor. Go ahead.
Like your kids. And no, I don't give a I could be the biggest star in the world. Do not let me catch you being stupid.
I like this energy.
I do like the energy.
Don't let me catch you being stupid. I mean, I think this has to, you got to rule with an iron fist like this when you got boys. It sounds like he primarily has boys. I think he said he had 3 boys in here. I get it. You got 2 boys.
I got 2 boys. They're little, though. I still rule with an iron fist.
Poor Flame. Go ahead.
Do not. And my oldest gets it. My 15-year-old, he tell the other ones, he's like, yo, don't make dad mad. Because once you get one that's right, he gonna straighten the other ones out.
Come on, somebody.
That's fire.
Once you get one
like
right,
that.
once you get one right, then he doing half the work.
Oh, yeah.
It's like big families. You ever see big families? And the older kids that are teenagers and there's a new baby on the scene and the older teens end up like helping with the little one.
The Duggars.
The Duggars. That's a bad example. That's a terrible example. No, I think it's a terrible example. Shout out to the Duggars. I'm talking about folks that like the movement that have big families and they'll have teenagers that help out with the little ones. And
100%.
I think that stuff is great.
So it's just that thing of, in the past 20 years, we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities.
Oh!
Come on.
He's been red-pilled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's been something.
I
He's been
think
trad-pilled.
I think the frustrating part about this is that when someone says something like this, I think the intellectually dishonest thing to do is then go and say something like, "Oh, see, he's pushing toxic masculinity, and he's a fan of Andrew Tate, and he's a he's tradcon, he's this, he's that," and it's like we should be able to make fairly reasonable observations about where society is around these topics
Without having to be in a internet brain rot camp.
Yes, without having to be now waving the banner of something that you might actually find repulsive.
Yeah. I think there's probably, what he's sharing is not an uncommon thought among most men, especially men that are fathers. It's just
except like
except for what?
Like the vegan type who get like circumcised to stand in solidarity with women's rights.
Whoa.
I know someone like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Any crazy? Yeah, so there are some men that are
no, there for sure are. Yeah. I'm just saying, I think
generally speaking, when you get men alone, this is how what would you say, 90%?
There's a reason it has 159,000 likes.
Yeah. What would you say, that 95%, 99% talk like this?
Yeah, they talk like this. And I would even say if they don't talk like this, they don't sometimes we don't feel the need to talk like this. Like sometimes it's just, oh yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I don't feel that strongly about it. It's just, it's like a way of being almost, you know?
Yeah, go ahead.
For one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men.
Come on.
And however you feel about that, you feel about that. Right. But my boys will always be respectful. They will always say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. No, sir, no, ma'am. They will always say thank you. They will always open a door for a lady. They will always make sure that their mother is taken care and provided for. They will always be men. And that's always since they were 2 years old. Every time I left for a job, I tell my 15-year-old, you're the man of the house. You make sure these doors are locked every night. This alarm is on. You text me or you call me every night before you go to bed and you wake up.
Ah!
I love that.
Because we're men. If I'm not there to protect, he got to be there to protect. Because you can have all the money in the world, climb through the window, that money means nothing. You can have all the celebrity in the world, jump through the door, that celebrity means nothing.
Yeah.
So you got to have a little guard in there, you know? And so for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different.
All right. By the way, that's a John Keith song at the end of that.
Yeah.
The pivot new episode. Okay, I want to see. So this was titled, I think this is really good. This was titled, Anthony Mackie is getting backlash for saying he's raising his kids to be respectful men. Why Anthony Mackie's death of the American male comment views on, so this is on The Root. Anthony Mackie says we're lying to our kids. Yeah, it sounds like legacy media definitely caught on to that. This is not hyperbole. They have literally killed masculinity. The Daily Wire. I mean, some of these are obviously going to be co-signing what he's saying.
Yeah.
Right? Anthony Mackie, Captain America, is making headlines, and unfortunately, it's not for his new movie. Instead, it's for his views of masculinity and things he's doing in his personal life, but will let you be the judge as to whether or not the online chatter is warranted. Conversations first began after clips from his recent appearance on the Pivot podcast went viral on social media. In it, Mackie discusses personal philosophy when it comes to raising his sons, explaining how he keeps his sons. Okay, so we saw that part. So what's the backlash? I don't understand that. What are people upset about? Some took issue with the stance, alleged that Mackie's words were laced with,
Laced with phobia, citing his stress on making sure his boys grow up to be real men. I would like to note that they are the only ones writing in the phobia part. Because he didn't say about them not.
Well, someone pointed out, rightfully so, that didn't this dude play an OGTV character in the movie?
Hello.
So how could the guy that played the
Yeah.
the thing that he's phobic about?
Like media and culture is showing their hand here. Because they're like, oh, he's talking about the death of the American man. And they know that what has been on the rise culturally is the LGTV agenda.
Right.
So if there's a death of an American man, then that would mean it would be at the expense, or the rise of the LGTV would be at the expense of the American man. Yeah. He never said anything.
He never said that. And apparently he talked about playing that role in that interview. He talks about his own brother being a part of that community.
Come on.
So how do you take that and then conflate that as like a fairly general statement that I think most people can observe that, yeah, this is this thing that like, we don't really want men to act like men, and when they do, we say that they're being toxic.
Exactly.
I think it's a very, very sensible point to make.
But I also think they're showing their hand.
Yeah.
That like the actual LGTV agenda is to make docile men. Like, because when it's not even mentioned with anything about LGTV, they're like, that's phobic. It's like, oh, being a real man. So okay, so you think that those two are the same. Creating docile men and LGTV is the same thing. They go hand in hand. So now that we're talking about creating real men, you think we're talking about locking up all the L's and the G's, maybe even the B's and the T's.
I don't know about all that. Okay, yeah, yes. When you conflate those two,
exactly,
that's wrong. I don't think we should lock anyone up for the record.
100%.
Just make
I would never do that.
Okay, don't lock anybody up.
But lock some people up.
Lock some people up. Don't lock people up for
their sexual orientation.
For their orientation. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.